born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
Welcome, athletes, into the gym closet. Today I am by my lonesome because we had an awesome interview with Juliana Curtis, who is a representative from Habitat for Humanity. So if you want to tune into that interview, go ahead and jump on, find our podcast, The Gym Closet, a Krave Gym podcast, or jump onto our YouTube and we will have the replay of that interview. But today I wanted to go over our wow and jump on live here and make sure that we get that taken care of, because today is an awesome wow. Our word of the week today is happiness. And so I thought it was only fitting that with a 70-degree Iowa weather today, that happiness be the key, because I think everybody's probably seen the amount of happiness that just weather can bring when it gets 80 degrees, 90 degrees hotter than it was 2 weeks ago, which is amazing to think that Iowa weather can change that drastically in a couple weeks, but it does. And so we are here to talk about happiness. So what is the definition of happiness? Is obviously the state of being happy. And today I kind of want to talk about, what being happy in the moment is. And I think a lot of us lose sight of being happy in the moment because we're almost waiting for happiness. Our goals, where we're going to go in life, all of that kind of stuff is thinking that, okay, when we get there, I'm going to be happy. And one thing that I think a lot of us forget is during the process, if you're not happy, if you're not sharing in happiness while you're trying to achieve your goals and while you're doing what you're doing to get to where you want to be, then if you're not happy during that, then most likely we're never going to be happy, because we're always going to be pushing to that next thing. And so one of the quotes that I love about this word of the week is, the key to being happy is knowing you have the power to choose what to accept and what to let go. That is, again, going back to last week's word of the week was power. But you have the power to choose to be happy today in the moment. I listened to something online the other day that was talking about being happy in the moment and choosing to be happy today versus waiting to be happy tomorrow when you accomplish something or when something happens in your favor. And that really rang true to me, because a lot of times I can find myself at fault for that. Is I will really be looking forward to something. I'll be happy when I get to this point in business, or I'll be happy when I get to this number of athletes that are being helped. But one of the things that I really try to focus on myself is staying happy in the moment and making sure that when you have all this other stuff going on, when life gets crazy, that if you are happy during those times, then life is going to be that much better for you. So getting into some action steps for your happiness, and where I want to go with this week, one of the things as far as the coach's examples that I was wanting to talk about is loving the process, being happy where you are, and not just when you get to the finish line. And that can be related to your fitness goals. That can be related to work. In fitness, a lot of us have these goals that to lose 10 pounds, to lift a certain amount of weight, whatever the case might be. If you're not happy while you're getting to that point, that's the finish line isn't going to make you happy. You're not going to be happy if you're not happy during the training. If it's just something you hate to do, then even if you do lose that 10 pounds or whatever the case might be, lift that weight, if you're not enjoying yourself in your fitness journey, on the way to your end goals, you're not going to be happy when you get to the end goal. So some action steps to take this week for all the athletes out there listening. Make a list of the things that make you happy today in the moment. The future is always so fleeting, and so you don't know what's the only control that we have is how we feel right now, and that's power. That's kind of the power that we talked about in the quote. But the future, you never know the future. The future is not in stone. Whether you have those goals and you accomplish those goals or not, that's great. But the future might not always make you happy unless you choose today to be happy. So make a list of all the things that make you happy in your life right now, today, and then just concentrate on doing those more often. Do what makes you happy. And that doesn't mean that you can skirt your responsibilities, and that doesn't mean that you don't have to go to work or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is choose to be happy at work. Choose to be happy during a workout. Enjoy the process of what you're doing, and that's ultimately going to make you a happier person in the long run, and it's going to make your success easier and better. And when you get to that finish line of that certain goal that you have, or whatever the case might be, if you knew that you liked the process, that's when you're going to make a new goal. You're going to continue in the process that you love, that you're going to be happy about and happy while doing, and continue to push forward to that next goal. And that's what's ultimately going to help you be successful in everything that we do. And living like athletes is going to be one of those big things. Is if you're living like an athlete, you can choose to love the process. You can choose to be happy today, and look at the present as a gift, and make sure that you are taking that mindset today. So for all my athletes listening live, thank you. We will be a short one today, but we will have an extended version. We just got done with a little over half-hour interview. That is an awesome interview about Habitat. If you are looking to sign up for Habitat, it's on March 27th. All of our links are always up at kravegym.blog. So if you go to our blog site, we have a blog up for this season that basically shares everything that we're doing this season with any links, any information that you need to know. So go to that website. If you're watching online on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you review, rate all of our social media and Google as well. If you can do me a favor and go on and review us if you haven't, those are huge for us. And so then, if you're on YouTube watching this replay with the added interview, then go ahead and hit subscribe so that you get those notifications. And there's a bell there to get those notifications for our new videos so that you can rewatch that, or tune into our podcast at the Gym Closet, Krave Gym podcast, on anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And the interview will also be available there. But we're going to go into that interview right now. So we'll be loading that here towards the end of the day, and you should be able to watch all of that by tomorrow. So to end this, remember, you're an athlete. Live like it. All right, athletes, we have an awesome interview today. We are joined by Juliana Curtis. Welcome into the Gym Closet.
Thank you.
Literally a closet. So we were talking a little bit before, and I didn't want to spoil it because she said that she was a big tennis player back in the day. So tell us a little bit about your athletic career and kind of what you did growing up with sports.
Sure. So I grew up playing tennis since I was I have a video with a racket in my hand when I was 2 years old. So I've played since I was very little, and awesome. I grew up in Des Moines playing tournaments, and then moved to Florida with my family when I was 13, and then played around the country and then internationally as well as a junior. Played college at Florida Gulf Coast University for 4 years, and then my family moved back to Iowa, and so I'm back here again.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we were talking a little bit before. We got to get you to come train here. One of the kind of the reasons, I was a strength and conditioning coach at the University of South Dakota, and one of the eye-opening kind of events to me was the link between, we trained our tennis team, we trained our football players, and so we had athletic style training, strength and conditioning for our 310-pound O lineman and our 110-pound tennis player from Israel, and she was, and they both kill it. Obviously different body types, obviously different skill set as far as what they need to perform in their sport, but everybody is an athlete, and that kind of is kind of one of the eye-opening things for me, was working with those two different types of athletes makes you realize kind of that everybody is an athlete. Everybody needs to train a certain way. So that's kind of, we were talking, for everybody joining us, we were talking a little bit about the background of Krave and what we do. And so she had talked about that. So I wanted to open up with your experience in tennis. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. And definitely through my training, I've learned also that there's all different body types, so everybody needs something different, but everybody has that capability to train and just become stronger and better themselves, for the long run, especially. It's definitely important. So
definitely awesome. Well, we're super excited to have you, obviously. So you are representing Habitat for Humanity, our power partner this season. For those that don't know, each season we work with a different organization as our power partner to basically get out into the community and live like athletes and help our community as much as we can. So with our Strength in Numbers season, we have our Habitat for Humanity as our power partner. So we're super excited every year. March and April, we get with Habitat for Humanity. I think we've done it now for 4 or 5 years now, where we've gotten the team together and built a house or done some type of a build, which has been amazing. But tell us a little bit about what your role is with Habitat and kind of how you found it now that you moved back into Des Moines.
Sure. Yeah. So Habitat, I'll just kind of reiterate our mission. Our mission is to put God's love into action by bringing people together to build homes, communities, and hope. And so when I moved back from Florida about 2.5, 3 years ago, I was looking for a full-time job, and something that really came to mind was community development. That's where I wanted to be involved in. And so one of the church that I was going to did a project with Habitat, and I saw the videos, and I immediately thought, okay, I want to get involved in that organization somehow.
Sure.
So I signed up to volunteer, and prior to that volunteer day, I actually applied for the job and ended up getting a job as a volunteer coordinator right before volunteering, and then I volunteered 2 weeks later, started the job, so it was a really good intro to that role.
Sure.
And so that was in November of 2019 when I started with Habitat here in Des Moines, and since then, so it's been about a year and 4-ish months, and then about 5-6 months ago, I took on a co-role, so we had a need for a donor relations and events manager, and so now I am part volunteer coordinator, part donor relations and events manager. And so essentially what I do is help manage the volunteer program, set up opportunities for people and organizations like Krave to serve and build on site or in our restores. And then I also help manage various events such as the family's home dedication when they close and purchase the home, and other builds, like one of the main programs that I help manage is the panel build, where we build walls to a home in a church or business parking lot. So those are always it's a sponsorship opportunity that's always a really fun build day, team building experience. So.
Sure. So you kind of jumped on board in 2019. 2020 happened. So you've spent half of your time almost with Habitat with the pandemic, and tell us a little bit about how, because obviously being a gym, we've adapted, we've had to do some things to continue to be able to train and do some different things safely. What did that look like as far as, you know, the pandemic? Obviously the need is still there, and so what kind of adjustments did you guys have to make with your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So when the pandemic started in about March of last year, so almost exactly a year ago, we had a 2.5-month volunteer pause. And so our construction team was still working on site every day to build homes, but it was just a little bit slower because we had less hands to help.
Sure.
And so in June, we reopened volunteer opportunities to the public, but we put in precautions. So a couple of the main things that we're really focused on are social distancing. You know, we do require masks when on site, and then we're sanitizing our equipment a lot more. And then for volunteer groups, we're also limiting the sizes to 7 to 8 volunteers so that our construction team can manage the amount of people on site a little bit better, and so we can keep that social distancing in place and keep people comfortable who are more comfortable with being out there, and maybe those who are not quite as comfortable still feel safe. So
definitely.
And then we also build outside a lot, so we have a lot of open airflow,
Sure.
which is nice for people as well. And so just to kind of address the need too, this is a pre-pandemic stat, but 1 in 8 families in Polk County were spending more than half of their income on housing. And so, you know, that leaves very little room for decisions between purchasing healthy foods at the grocery stores, having reliable transportation, providing good education for their families. And so we really want to keep that income level or that amount spent on housing below 30%. And so the pandemic, of course, has just exacerbated the housing crisis.
Sure.
And so it's definitely more than 1 in 8 families that are spending more than half of their income on housing. And so, so we're really grateful last year, though, for all of the people who did come out to volunteer, because we were down 50% of volunteers from 2019. But we were still able. We only had a 30% decrease in our goals that we reached of building and repairing homes.
Sure.
So,
awesome. Well, that's great. We've had to adapt and do all sorts of things as a society to kind of overcome that. But the needs of all of those things, you know, are obviously still you know, throughout the last year as much as possible. And shout out to, you know, the people that were volunteering still. And that's one of the big things. You know, for us, our athletes, we have kind of that give back type of mentality, and a lot of times it seems like when you're affected personally, when something happens like the pandemic, a lot of times you close in versus reaching out to the community. And so, you know, that's a big thing for anybody that is, you know, still affected and normally would go out and do those things. I encourage everybody to go back out with what we're comfortable with, and it sounds like you guys have made some adjustments to keep everybody safe. And so just getting back out and volunteering, if that's a normal thing that you do, is huge for you. The other thing that kind of happened this past year, and we read on your website that it's be actively anti-racist and affirm that Black Lives Matter. So that's really nice to see some of those being socially aware of those things. What does that kind of campaign look like in real life, and what steps have you guys taken on that front? Because obviously in the last year, that's been a huge top of mind awareness for everybody as well.
Right. Yeah. Good question. So it's definitely that awareness across the community has risen a lot. And with Habitat, we serve people of all backgrounds and of all religions. We are a Christian-based organization, but we serve people of all ethnicities, and so we are, you know, addressing that racial inequality in housing more, and have been as well. So just continuing that work. We're doing a lot more advocacy with the government and local and national government to just help raise awareness for affordable housing, and then and then for the racial disparities in housing, which is a big indicator of wealth. So housing, of course, is a big indicator of a person's wealth, and so we see that people who own homes tend to have much more success in the future rather than those who are stuck in cost burden rental situations. And so just providing those opportunities for everybody and increasing the access to credit for everybody is something that we're really honing down on in the next 3 years and focusing on.
That's awesome. And like you said, 1 in 8 are paying, more than half of their income. With all of that and all of the good that Habitat does, what kind of, I'm sure you've come across, certain stories and things that are uplifting and heartwarming. What are some of your experiences, personally, and some of the things that make you happy to do what you do every day?
Oh man, there are so many things.
Yeah.
I really love my work. I'll share a couple things. One is a personal story of a homeowner that we worked with this past year. And I just love to share this story because she is a prime example of somebody who really invests in our program and gives back. And so just to give a brief overview of our home ownership program, our families put in they have to qualify for the program, and they put in 300 to 400 hours of sweat equity is what we call it, and that includes volunteering on their home, on other Habitat homes, in our restores, and then taking part in our home ownership classes. So
almost
24,
paying it forward to others. Okay, awesome.
So it's not like we say, it's not a hand out, but it's a hand up. So they really are partnering with us. And one of the classes that they take is how to be a good neighbor. And so this woman, she is just a prime example of how to be a good neighbor. She took that class to heart. Before she purchased her home, she, met all of her future neighbors, had conversations with them, asked if they needed any help with anything. It was just already became friends with neighbors before she even moved into the home.
Sure.
And she was just an awesome example of somebody who also gives to the people who work for Habitat. She brought volunteers cookies each day on site,
awesome.
and our staff, and was out there quite often looking at the house, seeing how the sun hit the house, because she was really into horticulture, and so she wanted to build a community garden and provide a place for people to pick food and whatnot. So I just love sharing that story because it's each individual. Last year we provided 19 home ownership opportunities, and so she was just one of those 19, and each story is just really neat to see, really fun to see. So there's one reason. Yeah. And I would say the other reason is because my faith is a core part of my life, and so having an organization that is Christian based and allows you to share that with others, that's really important to me. One reason why I did take the job is because I felt that it was where I was led to go, and so I can share that faith. I can pray with people, and I feel that I truly am serving in my job and serving, putting God's love into action. It's part of our mission, and so I can use the gifts that I've been blessed with to serve others and give back. As an athlete, a lot of it is it's I think one of the best parts of being an athlete is being able to give back and coach and teach others, and so I think this is just a different way of serving.
Definitely.
So.
That's awesome. Yeah. One of my favorite parts of that during volunteering, similar to your story, having the homeowners come in and being able to chat with them, and just the experience of working on their home while, you know, the appreciation that they show the volunteers and the staff while we're doing those things, that's one of the really, really cool things for anybody that's volunteering with us, that hasn't done it with us before, is those opportunities are out there, and being able to kind of, like you said, serve on a higher level to help people, to help the community, and the appreciation, like she, you know, obviously paid it forward and continues to do that. To see that in action is really, really cool. So for anybody that hasn't signed up yet for on the 27th, March 27th, we have our build. And so if you haven't yet jumped on there, we have a blog, kravegym.blog. All of the links and stuff are on there, and you guys should have all got an email as well. But that's a huge opportunity for us. I believe there's still some spots open. I'll have to double check. We made a bunch of announcements already this week, so we may have filled up pretty quick. So hopefully we have a bunch of people on board doing it. But then we also, I'll double check here today to kind of see where we're at. What can our athletes, maybe it does fill up, what else can our athletes do, not just this season but all year, to help Habitat, and to you know, what can we continue to keep on the top of our mind if we come across, you know, I know different hardware for the restore and different things that we can repurpose. If we have a ladder, instead of throwing it away, you know, if we have 3 ladders and we want to donate one, what's some of the things that Habitat, that we can do for Habitat to help out on all year round?
Right. Well, I'll mention a couple things. You mentioned the restores. So we have restore in Urbandale, and then we have one on East Euclid where our offices are. And so both of those restores actually went online as well over the pandemic. So that was kind of a positive of last year. Yeah. And all of those proceeds go to support our mission of building homes, communities, and hope. And so either, you know, donating old materials. I'm sure people have a lot of home projects that they've been doing over the past years, the past year. Donating materials is helpful, and then we sell those to the public. That goes back to support our mission, or just purchasing any materials at the restores. If you still have home projects going, that helps too. Sure. So that is one way, just checking out the restores. You can check them out online too. If you go to our website, is gdmhabitat.org. And so the restores is one way. Volunteering, we have ongoing volunteer opportunities. So if you can't make it to the Krave Gym day, then we have ongoing opportunities Wednesdays through Saturdays on our new home construction sites, on our Rock the Block home repair sites. So those are where we partner with existing homeowners and do critical repairs. And then we also have opportunities in the restore to volunteer. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So then there's also, I was reading, there's the cost of home campaign. What does that have to do? How does that kind of correlate with everything too? Right.
So like I said, Habitat is affordable housing. So a common misconception is that we're free housing, but we're not. Like I said, it's hand up, not hand out. And so that really ties into the affordable housing initiatives, advocacy. So it's really trying to up our advocacy campaigns. Cost of Home is kind of the national, international campaign that Habitat for Humanity is doing. And so it's really focusing on increasing, you know, affordable housing, access, and various bills. We recently had one pass in Iowa that increases support of affordable housing and renovation of old buildings. So it's the entire Cost of Home is the entire campaign behind advocating for affordable housing.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. With all of that, what does, with the international and the national side of things and the government, obviously we need to be on a national level, but I think a lot of people that volunteer for local places, obviously the home building is local. I mean, we're actually building a home that's in Des Moines. But what's kind of the separation as far as some of the funding and all of that kind of stuff? Does that go to a national side of things, or is that all kept local? What does that kind of split look like?
Yeah, so Greater Des Moines Habitat for Humanity serves Dallas, Jasper, and mainly Polk County. So those are our main focus counties. We do a lot in the Des Moines area, and so the funds that we raise, the sponsors that we work with, any donations, those, most of it will go to Polk, Dallas, and Jasper counties, so local area. But we also tithe, and so that is a part of our mission is, and Habitat for Humanity International is that affiliates, local affiliates, tithe to international partners. And so the Greater Des Moines Habitat actually partners also with El Salvador, Malawi, and Nepal. And so
Awesome.
typically we have global village trips that where we go there to build and to serve.
Sure.
And so this past year it's been paused, so I have yet to go on one.
Oh,
but
shoot, yeah.
the next one I'm definitely gonna go.
I love it. That was my next question. Is,
Yeah.
have you been able to do that?
Yeah,
No?
I'm hoping the next one I believe is El Salvador, so I'm hoping to go to that when it happens, hopefully
Definitely.
next year.
Okay, sure.
But we tithe, and so some of those funds go to our international partners. And I believe last year we were number 8. Don't quote me on that. Number 8,
Sure.
at least top 10, I think, in tithes out of the 1,200 plus affiliates in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's cool. Do you have any questions that you wanted to kind of cover, or
No, I mean, you covered all of them. Yeah, you
I've
took
been
all of them.
been rolling, right? So what?
Great question.
With on the 27th, do you guys have kind of a plan for what our athletes might be doing that day specifically?
Sure. So typically, the week before, so Tuesdays, actually, our construction team will meet in the morning and plan the following week's tasks.
Okay, sure.
And site address. So we don't know the exact address where you will be working yet, but it will be a home in the Des Moines area.
Sure,
And so,
yeah.
but on the day of, so it's 8:15 start time, so I will most likely be there, or my coworker who's also named Zach. And so,
Sure.
so we'll be there to greet everybody, just tell a little bit more about our mission, what we do, and then we have construction managers who lead the site, and they are the construction experts, not me, and so they will
Sure.
be telling you, the different tasks that day will bring, and kind of divvy people up into various tasks
Awesome.
and groups. And
I tell all of our
such.
athletes too that we've done as much as framing and roofing a shed, all the way to finish work with interiors, and then also laying sod and rock and stuff on the outside. And so it really varies as far as where the construction is at. Is that pretty
Right.
standard as far as, because we usually just jump into one in March or April? And so is that with most of your volunteers, do they kind of do a monthly or every other month or something like that, pretty standard, or do more people just kind of pop in when it's convenient or when they're able to?
Right. Typically, it varies. We do have a lot of groups that will pop in when they can during the year, or set up a volunteer day when they can. And so, for example, we have houses right now that are in the trusses stage, so just putting up the essentially the frames to the roof, and we have other houses that are in the finishing trade stage, so
Sure.
Laminating, trimming, painting, stuff like that. And so, when it gets to the warmer months, that's typically when we'll do more landscaping and sodding. But we have volunteers that come out on a regular basis as well, so that's called our core crew. And so we have core crew that come out often weekly or seasonally, and they come in and see houses, from the beginning to end.
Sure.
And with the online volunteer opportunities, we do have folks who sign up over a period of time, if they want to, if they're, 16, 17, 18, and they need silver cord hours, they do that. Or if they're just looking to, they just retired and they're wanting to serve more, then they'll come out on a regular basis when it's convenient for them. So
Awesome.
Yeah. So for people too, like we said, the 27th is our date that we're going out as a group. But for some people that maybe are busy or something on that day, and they want to just come on their own, how would they? That's something that they just go on the website and sign up then, or get in contact with you guys somehow?
Yeah, so people can do a couple different things. They can either go to the website and sign up for our new construction or Rock the Block home repair shifts. Those are both on the construction sites. Rock the Block is from Wednesday through Friday. I believe right now we're just asking for Thursday and Friday so we can kind of consolidate and keep the groups together. And then new construction, so building where we build houses from the ground up, that's on Wednesday through Saturday. So there are opportunities every day there. And so you can either go sign up online. If you're going with a friend, you can just sign up for the same shift. If you do want to get a group together, then you can contact me and I can set up a day.
Awesome.
on a Wednesday through Saturday.
Perfect. Yeah. So if any athletes would like her information and everything, get with either Zach or myself or Amber over at Waukee, and we can get you her information to volunteer or get set up for, a lot of times we have families that want to do stuff together. And so with different power partners, we're able to set that stuff up. So you're the go-to for information on that. So we'll get a hold of you if anybody wants to and is not able to go with the team, or if we're full, we'll also get her information for you for any other opportunities that are coming up, because I think we have 14 slots available on that one, and I haven't checked. It was about half full the last time I checked. So, and then we did a big push here this last week. So hopefully there's a couple spots left, but if you're listening to this today or tomorrow and you haven't yet signed up and you want to, jump on kravegym.blog, go to that link, and you'll be able to sign up there. Anything else that you'd like to add? We thank you so much for coming on and telling us a little bit more about Habitat. But yeah, is there anything else that you'd want to end with?
Well, it's just been great. Thank you for having me. I always love sharing about Habitat because I do love the work, and it's been awesome to learn a little more about Krave Gym. It's right in my neighborhood, so
I love
it's been great to learn. Yeah, we're just really excited to have you all out in a couple Saturdays. It's just a fun. I think the great thing about it is that it's a fun, active volunteer opportunity, so you can get your hands dirty, get your boots dirty, especially now that it's spring. And
right.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, just looking forward to having everybody out.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming in. And like I said, kravegym.blog has the link for everybody there with those opportunities. Thanks a lot.
Alrighty. Thank you.
You're born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.